Disclaimer. This video features a detailed look at a statue depicting a woman. This statue is not wearing any clothes, so if the human image offends you or if you feel the sight of a human being is a danger to you, then this video is not for you. Please click away now. For the rest of you, here we go. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone, but my neighbor has some wind chimes. They are just beautiful. I really like natural sounds like the wind blowing through the trees and birds tweeting in the distance and, well, birds singing in the distance, let's say, tweeting. Or the sound of a wind chimes. Or the sound of a river flowing. Just beautiful, beautiful natural sounds. My name is Chris. Welcome back to Mudwalkers. And today we are talking about a statue. On X recently, I came across a pretty viral image of a statue. And all the conversations around the statue were fascinating to me and kind of confusing. It's definitely a nice piece. Very well done, well executed. It's very pretty. Great pose. But what really stood out to me about this statue, what stood out to me as crazy was a bunch of people losing their minds over the statue and calling it corn. Just so we're all clear, let's look at some dictionary definitions. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines corn as the depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures, movies, or writings, intended to cause sexual excitement, or materials such as books, movies, or photographs that depicts erotic behavior and is intended to cause sexual excitement. The Oxford English Dictionary defines corn as printed or visual material containing the explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feelings. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines corn as books, magazines, movies, etc. with no artistic value that describe or show sexual acts or naked people in a way that is intended to be sexually exciting. Dictionary.com defines corn as sexually explicit videos, photographs, writings, or the like, produced to elicit sexual arousal. Cornell Law School's Legal Information Institute explains corn thusly. Cornography, or corn for short, is material that depicts nudity or sexual acts for the purpose of sexual stimulation. However, the presence of nudity or sexual acts in a piece of media does not necessarily make that media cornographic if the purpose of that media is something other than sexual stimulation. All right, now that we've defined our terms, let's dive in. I'm American, all right, give me a break. I'm going to read this part. The statue in this image is, and I don't speak French, okay? I'm going to attempt this, and you guys who do speak French can let me know. The statue in this image is Une heure de la nuit by Italian artist Joseph Michelangelo Paulette. Paulette was born in Italy, as far as I have been able to find, but much of his work was done in Paris, France. Une heure de la nuit was displayed for a while in the Louvre, but is now currently displayed in the Musée National de Château in Compiègne in France.
Une heure de la nuit.
For more information on the statue itself, do see the information in the description down below. Many copies and reproductions and even modifications of Une heure de la nuit have been made, and they exist all over the world, but the principal statue is on display in Compiègne, France. Let's take a look at the statue itself. As you can see, this is a depiction of a young woman more or less floating in the clouds. She's got her hands behind her in a sleepy stretching pose, while still looking very wistful and at ease. The original image from X here is actually a depiction of a version on display in the Museo d'Arte Decorativo in Italy. Link in the description down below. So let's take a closer look at this statue and compare it to our legal and linguistic definitions of corn and see if it fits the definitions. But first, let's talk about Patreon. This episode of Mudwalkers is indeed brought to you by Patreon. These guys are my Patreon supporters. Supporters on Patreon, my patrons, my Patreon supporter people, folks, humans. Thank you for everything you're doing on Patreon. You're making my channel happen and my work sustainable, so thank you. You're making a huge difference for me and my family. Now, all the levels of support over there on Mudwalkers Patreon get early access to all my mainline content, videos like this one. But at other levels of support, higher levels of support, depending on your level, you also get access to my other Patreon videos like cooking videos, travel vlogs, World Naked Bike Ride tours, naturist resort tours, behind the scenes movie content, because I've been in some naturist movies recently, really fun stuff, and even some Patreon exclusive interviews that I do with certain people, eventually, hopefully, maybe, possibly, hypothetically, ecumenically. But stuff like that is available over on Patreon, and depending on your level of support, you also get access to my naturist fiction, short stories, and even a naturist novel that's in the works. It's not complete yet, but it's getting there. It's projected to have about 30 chapters, and 20 chapters have already been written, with 10 more well on the way. So that's fun. The book is getting good reviews so far over on Patreon, and hopefully it turns out as a good book. Also, check out my website, nakedmeanshuman.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter and stay attached to me and my content in case YouTube deletes my entire channel without notice or reason again. But now that I have felt out the unspoken parts of the community guidelines, I think that I'm safe now, but we'll see. Let's get back into the video. We'd have to show that this statue is intended to excite sexual feelings. I don't get that vibe from this statue at all, and we're going to look at why. There are really 4 aspects of, say, an image, whether it's a 3-dimensional image like a statue or a photograph. There are really 4 basic attributes that I use when I'm trying to determine if a depiction of a human body without clothes should be considered pornographic. Number 1. What kind of pose is this? Is this a recognizable sex position? Does she look like she's advertising herself for sex? What is the pose really telling us? That's the first thing I look at. And in the case of Honneur de la Nuit, I'd say no, it doesn't look like she's posing sexually. She's stretching. She looks kind of blissfully wistful or wistfully blissful as she kind of floats up into the clouds. The pose doesn't really seem sexual, it seems wistful. She's stretching, so unless you think stretching is automatically sexual, I don't see the sexual connection. But let's try something. Try a little experiment with me. I've tried this several times and it has worked every single time. Copy the pose. I dare you. Copy the pose. Take your hands, put them behind your head, and raise your elbows as high as they'll go. And I find that every time I do this, I find that every time I do that, it makes me want to stretch and yawn. So copy the pose and see if it gives you sexy feels or if it makes you sleepy and yawny. I think that's a good clue here. So yeah, to my eye, the pose doesn't scream corn. Number 2, we have the face. The face, not the hat, the face. There are many things that a woman can say, do with her facial expression that kind of give an image an unavoidably sexual tone. These are things you can do with the eyes, the eyelids, the lips, the jaw, all kinds of things you can do with the face that really tell you what kind of image this is intended to be. So yeah, there's lots of ways that you can make a sexual expression with your face. Sexually suggestive, you might could say. There are many ways you can make sexually charged expressions on your face. You know what I mean. But we don't get that from the statue. Look at her face here. She just looks, again, kind of blissfully sleepy. We don't see any of that, model, oh, look at me, kind of face. You don't see that in the statue. So the statue fails the corn test in the pose, and it fails it in the face. So let's look at number 3. Number 3 is hands. What a woman does with her hands in an image, whether it's a 3D image or a 2D image, tells you a lot about what kind of image it is. Is she twirling her hair? Does she have her fingers on her leg? Is she cupping anything important? Does she have her hand anywhere super duper sensitive? What's she doing with her hands? Again, what we see in Une Heure de la Nuit is she's just stretching. Her hands could hardly be in a less sexy place. They're at the back of her head. She's assuming this natural, restful position. What do people do when they want to kick back and relax for a minute? You put your hands behind your head. Okay, a man who sits back in a lawn chair after a long day of yard work and puts his hands behind his head, he's not sexually advertising himself. Women know this, okay? People just know this. So again, her stretching, her hand position is not suggestive. So the statue so far fails the corn test in the pose, the face, and the hands. So let's look at number 4. Genitals. Let's look at the let's look at the statue in terms of this 4th category. This is really important, you'll remember, in our Oxford definition. Let's look at whether the genitals are the focal point or a focal point in this statue. Let's look at the statue again. See, it's going to be really hard to convince me that this woman's genitals are meant to be the focal point of the statue if you can't even see her vagina. I mean, so plus, what is the focal point of this statue really? It's clearly not the crotch. It's broader than that. But we're going to get to that in a minute. To be fair, let's broaden our categories here. Out from genitals into anything that we could say was maybe like erotic. So let's expand it out a little bit, and we'll include breasts and buttocks. We'll say breasts and buttocks. Are the breasts and buttocks the focal point of the statue? Okay, the butt, that's clearly not a focal point here. I think we can agree. So if we turn the statue back around, we do have the woman with her elbows up. So some people could argue that the breasts are actually the focal point of the statue. I'm going to disagree here, but let's talk about it. I think the only way that you really come away from this statue thinking that the breasts are the focal point is, well, number one, if you're just not used to art depicting humanity, number one. But number two, I think one other major factor here, if you're coming away with the breasts as the focal point, is if you're already kind of fixated on breasts yourself. Have a look at this face. What's the focal point here? There is no focal point. It's just a face. How about this picture? What's the focal point here? There is no focal point, really. If you say the focal point is the feet, the problem is not the picture, it's you. You just have a thing with feet. People have noses. If you make a bust of somebody, you're going to end up sculpting the nose. People have lips. If you make a face of a statue, you're going to have to put the lips on there. You're going to have to carve those things into the picture. Women have breasts. So if you're going to carve a statue of a woman, it's going to have breasts on it. And if you depict her in what might be the most classic sleepy pose you could imagine, yes, okay, the statue's still going to have breasts on it. This is what humans look like. If the breasts are your focal point here, you're missing the point of art. Let's take a top to bottom 360-degree look at this statue. Paulette includes a lot of intense detail all over the piece, not just the breasts. From the layout of this piece, Paulette clearly wanted people to stare at the entire statue. The woman's pose, the little babies at the bottom, the details of the cloth, everything, and enjoy the beauty that he had captured in this piece of stone. If anything, if you ask me, the breasts are understated. So, Does the statue fit the dictionary definitions of corn that we saw? No, it doesn't. When you see naked people, all that you're really seeing is just a human being, human beings. That's what humans look like. It's just your humanity. If you see another member of your own species, the whole person, and your response is disgust, offense, or automatic intense sexual arousal just from the sight of the other person, the problem is not with what you saw, the problem is you. I don't think the statue is sexually charged at all. I mean, it's pretty, but the same way that a flower is pretty. I can think that a flower is pretty without wanting to copulate with it. You don't have to be sexually attracted to something to think that, you don't have to be sexually attracted to something to think that it's beautiful. I mean, I also think trees and mountains and horses and dolphins are beautiful, but I don't want to have sex with them. First of all, gross. But beauty is just a completely different category from sexual arousal. And if you see the beauty of a woman and you can't help yourself but sexualize what you saw, again, she is not the problem. You are. There's a huge difference between, wow, that's really pretty, and hot dang Houston, we have liftoff! Massive difference, just a massive difference between beauty and sexuality. You don't have to connect those things. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it thought-provoking and entertaining. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I miss the mark on this one? Is this accurate? Do you think that the statue is actually corn, or just in general, what are your thoughts? I hope you found it thought-provoking and entertaining. Come back for the next video. I'll see you on the next one, all the YouTube things. Awe ke uno do ai.